I'm Rachel Padilla. Today I am in the fictitious Hawkins, Indiana. I have the privilege of working as an extra for Stranger Things Season 4. Here I am standing in front of the home of the Tigers, Hawkins High School. When I moved to Georgia in 2017, I started watching a lot more cinema and television. And it didn't take me long to start to realize that all of these worlds I was seeing on screen, from the Marvel Universe to The Walking Dead and Stranger Things, looked a lot like my new world. And that's because so much of the filming locations are in the Atlanta area. So I binge watched the first season of Stranger Things and then the second when it came out on October 31st of that year. I waited in anticipation for the third season, and when it came out, somewhere halfway watching that season, it occurred to me that I didn't want to just observe that world and then visit the filming locations later. I wanted to insert myself in that world. At the end of 2019, there was already talk for the next season, Season 4 of Stranger Things, and I wanted to be involved. So this is where that little short-term dream or item on my bucket list really came into my mind. But when COVID hit in early 2020, a lot of filming projects came to a screeching halt. Knowing that dreams, hopes, and wishes don't come true without action, I started seeking out casting agencies in the Atlanta area. By April of 2021, I finally started getting casting calls. And when Stranger Things popped up in my inbox, I was so excited. Since COVID was still a reality, my first requirement was to take a COVID test. Upon receiving a negative result, I was able to get the information for the location and the casting time. Upon my arrival at the set, I took another COVID test, and while I waited in quarantine, I took this photo. It had been made very clear that you must be willing to let production cut and style your hair however necessary to achieve the 80s look for the show. When I got my second negative test result, I was then allowed to go to wardrobe. Now, the really cool thing about the wardrobe in Stranger Things is that most of it is authentic, vintage 1980s. I was issued a button-up pink plaid shirt and a pair of high-waisted corduroy narrow pant leg pants. But my favorite part of the costume was these vintage Nikes. After wardrobe, I went to hair and makeup. I was prepared to have my hair completely cut off, as walking around the set, there were a lot of haircuts that looked like Molly Ringwald or Ali Sheedy from The Breakfast Club. But what I ended up getting was my hair put half up, half down, and bangs cut in. I was only there for 2 days of filming, and my location was at Hawkins High School in the gymnasium and outside of the high school. Now, being a background extra as a Hawkins resident, or a Hawkins Townsperson. I think that's what it was called. I fully expected to kind of maybe see myself floating around in the background out of focus somewhere, and that happened a couple of times. But ultimately, I had the privilege of being placed in a really cool scene where my face is clear and it is 100% noticeable that it's me. I'm just so thrilled for having had this opportunity to be involved in this and see all of the work that goes into it. Everything from wardrobe to hair and makeup, and the organization and forethought of what every single person on set is doing. It was amazing, and it was really awesome to see how the camera comes in with like trucking shots and crane shots and hearing action and cut. So this is just one thing I can check off of my bucket list. Just a little thing, but it still required the planning and the forethought, and that's how dreams happen. I had such a wonderful time participating in being an extra in this show and just seeing how it's all done, how the scenes are created, how the magic happens. Thank you so much for joining me in Hawkins, Indiana.